Greeting everyone! As our company, the Royal Caribbean Cruise gear up to provide again the best cruise experience to our clients in the new normal, we are pleased to present RCC Brand Image Improvement Program as outcome of our latest marketing research. This is Karn, together with Ann and Jia. Shown in the outline of our marketing research, we first look into the background of Royal Caribbean Cruises, then identify the significant challenges the company faces following COVID-19 pandemic. We will discuss the methodologies used and present the result of our assessment of RCC's marketing environment, including with the description of the consumer, industry trends, competitors, and RCC's current marketing strategy. Lastly, we will present the insight we generated from the marketing research as well as our recommendations on how to improve and promote RCC's brand image post-COVID-19. Let's start it with the background of Royal Caribbean Cruises. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line was founded in 1968 by three Norwegian shipping companies. The first ship named Song of Norway was put into service in 1970. Later in 1997, Royal Caribbean Group was formed when the company purchased Celebrity Cruises. Therefore, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line was rebranded. As a result, Royal Caribbean Cruises Limited was established as the new parent company of both Royal Caribbean International and Celebrity Cruises. Currently, Royal Caribbean Cruises has 6 companies, including with other cruise lines. For this marketing research, we will focus on only Royal Caribbean International, which is the original company. With the headquarters based in Miami, Florida, USA, is known as the largest cruise line by revenue and the second largest cruise line by passengers count. RCI is also operating 4 largest passenger ships in the world and having over 300 destinations around the world. Presently, Royal Caribbean International offers cruise services around the world with 369 departure ports in 77 countries through private destinations called Labadee in Haiti and Coco Cay in Bahamas. Customers are welcome to choose their own preferred accommodation type on board, and trip length from 2 to 18 nights with affordable price starting from $200. Each of 25 ships from RCI offer unique experiences such as Quantum of the Sea, where it allows guests to dinner and observe ocean view over the sea, or Royal Amplify, where guests could experience an aqua coaster in the large water park on board. RCI also has the biggest ship on record, called the Symphony of the Sea.
Now we will discuss the significant challenges. What are the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic? Royal Caribbean International is suffering from significant revenue loss. This translates to around $8 billion of future cruise credits in terms of cancellation as of June this year. It also reported $1.4 billion loss and decline in share prices as early as the first quarter. This is on top of the continuing loss in revenue due to the global suspension. Royal Caribbean International recently announced suspension of sailing for its global fleet until September 15, 2020. Another crucial impact was the negative publicity brought by the reported infections in several cruises, one of which was the high-profile Diamond Princess ship crisis handled by the Japanese government. Core to our research is the identification of the most significant challenge that may be addressed by marketing efforts for the improvement of Royal Caribbean International's brand image. Considering the significant increase in consumers' apprehension towards safety due to the pandemic, the most significant challenge we identified is how to actually convince people to return to cruising. Methodology. The marketing research was done through the collection of both primary and secondary data. We looked into cruise industry reports, surveys, and research on both pre- and post-COVID outlooks for travel and cruising, as well as new articles to assess the COVID-19 pandemic impact to the cruising market. We also conducted interviews with a Royal Caribbean International employee as well as selected cruisers and non-cruisers within our target market. We incorporated the information and insights we gathered in our final recommendations.
Marketing environment. We'll be mostly looking at the cruise industry's market potential, segmentation, and trends pre-COVID, as well as how Royal Caribbean and its major competitors performed during the COVID, especially in terms of product and human capital issue management. As reported by the Cruise Lines International Association last year, cruise ship passengers have grown from 17.8 million to 30 million since 2009, with an annual growth rate of more than 5%. Half of the global passengers are coming from North America, who dominate cruise travel to the easily accessible Caribbean, and the market is still growing, with an example indicator of 9% from 2017 to 2018. Cruisers from Asia Pacific and Europe make up almost another half of the global market, which is worth further exploring the markets for Royal Caribbean in the near post-COVID era, partly because the COVID impact is gradually mitigated in countries with the most cruisers in these parts of the world. Please also note that 82% of the cruisers are likely to repeat consumption. We will discuss more in the recommendations later. Market segments. From the chart of cruisers' age distribution here, it's notable that between 2016 and 2018, the dominant groups of cruisers are Gen X and Millennials, which together make up about 50% of all age groups. Relating to the reality about inclination of getting COVID across different age groups, we presume that these two groups are the reasonable targets of cruising companies like us near post-COVID. Regarding behavioral segmentation, 60 to 70% of cruisers globally went on a cruise for 4 to 7 days. Few customers picked a cruise travel for more than 13 days. As COVID is still ongoing and likely to continue for even longer, even if Royal Caribbean resumes operations, we expect that travelers will cruise for a shorter length of time, like 3 to 4 days each. This prediction is also based on the preferences of our cruiser and non-cruiser respondents in the interviews. In summary of these findings mentioned and with the support of CLIA's 2019 research, the following 4 main trends were predicted before COVID brought other uncertainties. The first trend is cruise and stay. 65% of cruise passengers spend a few extra days at embarkation or debarkation ports, which suggests the potential of revenue improvement for us by developing or renovating entertainment facilities at the ports and repackaging our product offerings with less days on board and a few more at the ports. Second, more than 60% of Gen X and 71% of millennials have a more positive attitude about cruising in 2019 compared to 2 years ago. Although this may change again after the news of the Diamond Princess during COVID, we're able to explore the psychological rationales that change these groups' minds and apply that to our post-COVID replanning. Third, with more Google searches for solo travel and traveling alone than ever before, solo traveling is rising in popularity. Cruising allows for solo travel without the worry of arranging a ton of details while visiting even the most far-reaching destinations and connecting with other travelers, forming community bonds and once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Last, micro travel is also on the rise. People would like to travel domestically or in the vicinity of their location bases. This suggests that we should launch more bite-sized cruises over a 3 to 5 day period, offering itineraries and travel to exciting destinations.
The current marketing strategies of Royal Caribbean includes offers of best price guarantee and free cancellations. It also operates an intensive consumer outreach department in order to address the concerns and questions of clients whose cruise schedule was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Royal Caribbean also extensively uses traditional, online, and social media marketing and also has customized websites for consumers and travel agents. A big chunk of marketing activities are being done through the travel agents who deal directly with clients with the aim to help them in decision making as well as customizing their cruise experience. On board, Royal Caribbean has the Next Cruise Vacation program where cruisers, who are usually repeat customers, can book and get discounts for their next cruise trip. Finally, we discuss our insights and recommendations. In general, our research showed that post-COVID scenario will definitely include changes in the behavior and preference of cruise passengers, as well as demand operational adjustments on the part of Royal Caribbean. To market cruise products, Royal Caribbean must be able to offer packages that will capture consumers' desire to travel while addressing apprehension towards cruising as a travel option. We're also expecting the growing demand for shorter and smaller scale travel activities. In our interview, domestic travels are preferred while waiting for the pandemic to be completely over and even for the next few years after it. It is also deemed as a must that measures will be implemented to ensure the health and safety of passengers as well as hygiene and sanitation. Royal Caribbean is also currently studying what are the changes to be done in terms of service delivery on board and during port calls to prevent infection. With these foreseen and assumed changes, our first recommendation is for Royal Caribbean to focus on high potential, low risk, and travel-hungry demographics as the target market. This is to compensate for the expected decrease in overall demand for travel as the market's appetite still recover from the effects of the pandemic. We will examine further the characteristics, motivations, and preferences of our recommended target market.
The adult and young adult segment of the cruise market, known as the Gen X and Millennials, exhibit significant potential not only as current but also as future passengers of RCC. Gen X, who are currently ages 41 to 55, and Millennials or Gen Y at 26 to 40, when combined account for more or less 53% of the market based on the 2018 Cruise Industry Survey. Before COVID-19, cruise passengers were predominantly ages 60 and above, but these segments are also the high-risk demographic and expected to be less keen to travel after with the COVID-19 pandemic and in the next few years after it. Targeting Gen X and Gen Y for RCC marketing is also an investment for the future of the business, as these segments have higher customer lifetime value provided they can gradually be converted to long-time repeat cruisers. Based on the research, 85% of the millennials showed an increased interest in cruises. We also looked into their traveling behavior and found that 72% prefer to spend their money on gaining experiences rather than material things. 87% look for traveling inspiration on social media. 85% are checking the best deal before booking, and 75% want to travel abroad as much as they could. Showing the result from personal interview, most experienced cruise tourists shoot their cruise trip with international destinations. Some of them also mentioned that traveling by cruise is unique and different because the journey starts from boarding at the cruise ship. And the reason they prefer cruise more than an airplane-based trip is that, first, they enjoy scenery of the ocean more than sitting in the cabin of a plane. Second, cruise offer a variety of cuisine and buffet serving while on board. Lastly, accommodation and activities on board become a new experience. In addition, some of them say traveling via cruise allows them to meet new people on board, making it also an enjoyable option for solo travelers. Based on the research, 69% of Gen X said that they will definitely try a cruise trip whenever they have a chance. In terms of behavior and preferences, we found that 93% of them also look for the best deal before reservation, while 71% take family-oriented vacation. More than half prefer the relaxing types of traveling, and 88% prefer domestic destination. The result from personal interview was consistent, as most experienced cruise tourists went to a cruise ship to spend time with their family. Most of them also booked a cruise through a travel agent because of convenience and to make sure that it would be an all-inclusive price. The schedule also includes with a complete itinerary, which made time management easier, and booking with the agent also provide them great deals and discounts. The industry survey showed that 82% of cruisers are loyal and repeat customers. However, due to the current situation with COVID-19 pandemic, we have to consider if they will still choose to return to cruise. Referring to a personal interview with Mr. Nemere, former host agency manager of Royal Caribbean International, it was pointed that most customers actually prefer to reschedule their cruise plan rather than canceling and are looking forward to cruise again. And based on our personal interview with cruisers and non-cruisers, some of them said that they are ready to travel whenever they are allowed, while some said that they prefer to wait for 2 or 3 years until the situation returns to normal or once there's a vaccine. Most of them mentioned that they may consider cruising again if a cruise company can ensure no infection on board, maintain safety standards, including with hygiene and sanitation.
The table on the left details our market penetration rates for North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific, computed based on the number of annual cruise guests as a percentage of the total population. This data indicates that market penetration rates are still low and that a significant portion of cruisers carried are actually first-time cruisers. We believe this presents an opportunity for long-term growth and a potential for increased profitability. Considering the varied levels of challenges countries are facing with COVID, we recommend to maintain focus on the North American market for long term, but seek more opportunities to enter the Asian market in the near future.
In summary, RCI can focus on Gen X and millennials as the target market, including those who travel alone or with family. It can also focus on the group who are ready to travel as soon as they can and who are willing to pay to experience the trip. The target can still be North Americans while also catering to growing needs of Asian passengers. It can also focus on those who are itching to travel soon and often consume social media to look for their journey inspiration.
So, how do we position and differentiate ourselves with our competitors? This starts with providing consumers confidence to the safety and value of cruising. We aim to gain the first wave of cruisers by stressing the quality of our service and facilities, and the value by promoting unique destinations and experiences. But perhaps most importantly, how do we convince our consumers that it's safe to cruise with us? A study in 2019 was actually into how health-related incidents, similar to the case of COVID-19 pandemic, would affect the customer's perceptions, attitudes, and decisions towards cruising. So we would like to propose a measure of risk communication with reference to this study to lower the level of risk perception by this means of risk communication. We will detail the instructions of health, safety, and hygiene measures on board, assist the audience in coping with the health problem, and protect themselves from the risk in the future. All of these instructions can be shown virtually in the promotional video of our staffs doing a trial cruise.
Effectively reaching the target market will be much challenging now given the overload of information and the negative publicity suffered by the cruise industry. In addition to the current marketing channels, the cruise communication strategy of RCC can include production of virtual tours and cruise trial ad campaign showing RCC employees or celebrity endorsers trying out cruising in the new normal setup. Documenting the cruise experience post-COVID will address consumers' apprehension by letting them know what to expect on board and showcasing how healthy cruising was made possible by Royal Caribbean. Virtual tours and cruise trial videos can provide a walkthrough to the entire testing and other safety pre-boarding procedures, self-service or social distancing protocols on board, and how cruise staff will assist passengers in a clean and hygienic manner. We are also recommending Royal Caribbean to come up with content and messaging strategies to repair the brand image of cruising to the target market segments. Example would be to come up with statements to encourage recall and positive perception from consumers about the Royal Caribbean cruise. Stress-free and safe at sea, quarantine with freedom, cruise safe, and the best of health and experience on board. These are some examples of statements that can be adopted for post-COVID campaigns. Another way is to have cruise ambassadors such as celebrities and influencers attesting to safety on board and maximum experience at the sea. That's all, and thank you very much for your attention. We hope to see you all on board the Royal Caribbean Cruises.